All right. Hi, all. This is Rosa, the program coordinator at the Alliance. And this is a pre recorded presentation that will walk you through the exit process to ensure that you receive your final living allowance and have access to your education award. As you can see, here is the agenda for the presentation. We're actually going to collect some basic contact information from you in a second. We'll also take a quick look at the exit checklist, which should be available on the Google site. And then we'll go over the end of term evaluation, your final timesheet, the AmeriCorps exit form and survey, some of the benefits that you may have been receiving during your term of service, and your education award. I'm going to go ahead and pause the presentation to collect some information from you regarding your exit date, your email and physical address. And once you've submitted the Google form, please just return to the presentation. All right, so this is a checklist of what needs to be completed so that we can successfully exit you from the program. This resource will be available on the Google site, like I mentioned, but many of these things we'll go over in a little more detail. But you should be getting some information about benchmarks, great stories, and summer data tracking from the training team. So, in order to gain access to your education award, you need to fill out and submit an exit form in your MyAmeriCorps account, where you completed your enrollment form during the onboarding process. There's also a short exit survey that you'll also be taking. I've already unlocked the exit form for you, so please log into your MyAmeriCorps account and complete it later on in the presentation. We'll give you some time for that, or by the end of the day. So each member must have a completed exit evaluation, also called the year-end evaluation. The process will look the same as it did for the mid-year evaluation. So your supervisor will fill out and submit the evaluation in a Google form, and then you'll get an email from Form Approvals asking for your signature. And this evaluation will be released 1 month before your exit date, and is due 2 weeks before your exit date. Sometime between when the evaluation is sent to your supervisor and when it is due, 2 weeks from then, you'll want to meet with them to review what they've, written or submitted, and then you can go ahead and sign off on it. And that again is due 2 weeks before your end date. So, one of your last duties as a Promise Fellow is submitting your final timesheet. Your timesheet should only be submitted after all hours have been served. It's also important to be careful not to make mistakes, as your final timesheet will be saved to file, and so subject to more scrutiny than some of your others. And we'll be unlocking for corrections even after your last day of service. It behooves you to just be really extra careful about making sure if you logged hours that you have a description and vice versa, that everything is, detailed and provides all the necessary information. And then hopefully, no corrections are needed. And once you submit it and your supervisor approves it, then you're all done. If you do need to make corrections, we'll let you know. It'll be the same process as it has been this whole year. We'll need you to make those corrections, and your supervisor will need to reapprove it before your final living allowance can be issued. Um, let's see. If you're enrolled in the Alliance provided health insurance, you'll be covered through the end of the month. So, if you're exiting, say, on the 15th of the month, you'll remain covered until the end of that month. If your exit date is the last date of a month, then that is when your coverage will end. You'll also be granted a 60-day special enrollment period from your end date through MNsure to enroll in their health insurance. It's also your responsibility to notify all agencies affected by your exit from the program. most notably SNAP or any other county assistance. This year, all ed-backed federal student loans were automatically put in forbearance due to COVID. So none of you would have requested forbearance through AmeriCorps, so that isn't applicable this year. If for some reason you were able to put, say, private student loans into forbearance due to your service, you would then, want to get in contact with them to let you know that you've been exited from the program. Also, a reminder that an exit from service doesn't qualify you to receive unemployment compensation benefits. After your exit date, your education award will become available in your MyAmeriCorps account, and it will look like this, as you see on the screen. You'll then be able to create a payment request to apply the award to existing qualified federal student loans or future educational expenses, and you can use, the education award in many ways. A couple examples would be, you could use the total education award, kind of a lump sum to put towards existing student loans that you may have, or you can, request them in smaller payments. So you don't need to, request or sorry, use it all at once. It really depends on each individual situation. One thing to note is that you must use it within 7 years. So that is something to keep in mind. Make sure you keep the login information. Make sure that you're able to log in and access it. And also just wanted to make sure that everyone knows it is taxable income. So that is something to consider, especially if you are wanting to use it all at once. And our wonderful Emily Anderson, Promise Fellow Leader, has graciously offered to meet with members one-on-one to answer questions about accessing and using your education award. And then all three Promise Fellow leaders have also scheduled an education award information session where they will answer your questions. And so you'll be getting some more information on that from them soon. All right, so we're going to pause here so that you can fill out and submit your exit form in your MyAmeriCorps account if you haven't already. If you're unable to do so right now, please have it submitted by the end of the day. And then for those of you who are able to do it now, please do. And once you've submitted the form, please come back to the presentation. All right, so if you have questions about the content that we covered in this presentation, you'll be prompted on the next screen to share what you need, and then we will be in touch to get you those answers. So I just want to say thank you so much for your service this year, and I hope to see you around.